Beneath the warm turquoise waters of the Coral Sea, off the northeastern edge of Australia, lies a realm unlike any other on Earth. A kingdom of colour, a cathedral of light, a world built not by stone or fire, but by living creatures smaller than a grain of rice. This is the Great Barrier Reef, a place so vast it stretches over 2,300 kilometers, a living structure visible from space. Yet every towering coral, every archway, every lagoon began with a single translucent life form, quietly building its empire beneath the waves. Long before humans carved symbols into rock, before the first fires lit the night, this reef was already alive, growing, shifting, breathing with the tide. 25 million years ago, the Australian continent drifted northward into warmer seas. Corals, ancient architects of the ocean, took hold of the shallow seabed, building slowly upward toward the light. Generation upon generation, they laid down limestone skeletons, creating mountains of colour that now cradle entire ecosystems. And so began one of Earth's oldest collaborations between coral and sunlight, life and time. At the heart of this vast empire live the coral polyps, tiny, fragile beings, cousins to jellyfish and anemones. They form colonies that look like stone, but pulse with life. By day, their bodies shimmer with golden algae, microscopic partners called zooxanthellae that live inside their tissues. These algae capture sunlight and feed the coral with sugars. By night, the coral extends delicate tentacles to feed on drifting plankton. It is a partnership of light and hunger, of patience and persistence. Together, they form a structure so immense it supports over 9,000 known species: fish, turtles, sharks, mollusks, and countless more waiting to be discovered. The reef is often called the rainforest of the sea, but even that feels small. It is not just a forest, it is a city of life, a breathing continent beneath the waves. As the first rays of morning pierce the surface, the reef awakens. Parrotfish grind coral into sand, creating the white beaches of the islands above. Clownfish weave through the arms of their anemone homes, dancing fearlessly among the stinging tentacles that protect them. Nearby, a green sea turtle glides through the water, her flippers like wings. She returns here every few years, to the very beach where she was born, following the invisible magnetic lines of the earth itself. Reef sharks patrol the shallows, their movements smooth and ancient. Butterfly fish trace patterns through coral corridors. Manta rays pass like ghosts of silk, silent, slow, eternal. Each moment is a ripple in a vast rhythm, a heartbeat of the ocean itself. Yet even this dazzling paradise hides layers of mystery. Descend deeper and the light fades. The colors soften into blues and silvers. Here, in the twilight zones, life glows with its own fire. Tiny plankton drift like sparks in a cosmic sea. Some fish shimmer with pulses of blue-green light, signals to attract mates or confuse predators. Jellyfish undulate, trailing threads of phosphorescent light behind them, like lanterns adrift in the dark. It is a world where communication happens not through sound or sight, but through luminescence, a silent language written in light. And in that quiet, we glimpse something eternal, nature's endless creativity, painting the ocean with stars. To many, the reef appears chaotic, a blur of motion, a swirl of sound and color. But beneath the surface lies perfect balance. Every creature plays its part. Herbivorous fish graze on algae, keeping the coral clean. Predators control the population of grazers. Sponges filter the water, recycling nutrients. Even bacteria, invisible to the eye, keep this intricate web in harmony. This is life's greatest orchestra, and somehow every note fits. It's a paradox of nature, abundance born from scarcity. The waters around the reef are surprisingly poor in nutrients, yet the system thrives through cooperation, not competition. Maybe that's why the reef feels so alive. It's not just a place, it's a lesson. But like all living things, even ancient kingdoms can falter. Over the last few decades, the reef has faced challenges greater than any in its long history. Rising ocean temperatures, pollution, acidifying seas. Each one erodes the fragile harmony the corals depend on. When water becomes too warm, the coral polyps expel their algae partners, the golden friends that feed them. Without them, the coral turns white. It's called coral bleaching. In those moments, the reef becomes a ghost of itself, pale, silent, struggling to survive. But this too is part of nature's cycle. If the waters cool, if the storms ease, the corals can recover. New generations take hold, rebuilding from the bones of the old. Life, even here, finds a way to return. Across Australia, people are fighting to protect this wonder. Marine biologists dive among damaged reefs, planting new coral fragments by hand. Local communities reduce coastal runoff, protecting water clarity. Scientists experiment with heat-resistant corals, hoping to help the reef adapt to a changing world. And then there are the First Nations peoples, the traditional owners of these waters, who have cared for the reef for tens of thousands of years. To them, the reef is not just an ecosystem, but a relative, a living being with spirit and memory. They speak of it as a teacher, a guardian, an ancestor. And through their stories, they remind us that caring for the ocean is an act of kinship, not ownership. Their wisdom is older than the tides, and perhaps it holds the key to protecting what modern science cannot. When we listen to their voices, we hear a truth the reef has always known. Everything is connected. Maybe that's what draws us here, to this glowing world beneath the waves. Because when we look into the reef, we see ourselves. We see resilience in the coral that rebuilds after every storm. We see cooperation in the clownfish and the anemone, protecting each other in perfect trust. We see beauty born from diversity, the idea that strength comes not from uniformity, but from unity. And perhaps, in the endless sway of the coral gardens, we remember something we've forgotten, that we too belong to this web of life. The ocean teaches patience. It teaches humility. It teaches balance. And if we're quiet enough, if we simply listen, it teaches peace. As the sun sets over the coral sea, the water glows gold, then violet, then deep blue. The reef settles into its nightly calm. Some creatures sleep, others awaken. The parrotfish forms a bubble of mucus around itself, a sleeping bag made of its own breath. Octopuses emerge from their dens, shifting colors with every heartbeat. And somewhere in the dark, a turtle floats upward for air, breaking the surface just as the stars begin to appear. The reef breathes in rhythm with the universe, slow, endless, serene. It is a reminder that time here is not measured in minutes or years, but in tides and generations. The same corals that began this reef millions of years ago still echo in the living structures of today. Every wave that rolls across it carries whispers from the past. Stories written not in words, but in color, motion, and light. So as you imagine yourself drifting above this world, let the calm settle in. Feel the slow pulse of the ocean beneath you. Listen to its quiet heartbeat. The Great Barrier Reef is not just a place to visit. It's a world to respect, a teacher to learn from, and a reminder of how beautiful life can be when it's in harmony. And as we drift away from its glowing embrace, we carry a piece of it within us. That same rhythm, that same peace. Even in the darkest depths, there is always light.